Okay, I think we are live. And I'm going to set a metronome for us here at if it will go. I feel like I'm really reaching the limits of what my little MacBook Air can handle here with the it can zoom, it can live stream, but when I ask it to be a metronome also, it's like, what do you want from me? That is too fast. Okay, this is 80 beats per minute. So that's gonna sound like... pretty slow, but it'll give us a chance to really get into these. Also, I'm just gonna be doing those two patterns. So the full shuffle and the full note mute, chop mute. Remember that you don't have to. If you're just working on the chop, you can, right? You can simplify this as much as you need to. Okay, let's rock and roll here. 20 minutes of focused accompaniment pattern work. Here we go. In close work like this is often when you start mind wandering a little bit and falling out of certain habits. So make sure you're using good habits in your playing here. Make sure you're also thinking not only about the physicality of these patterns, but rhythmically where they're falling against this beat. It seems like it would be really easy to make this groovy at this beat, but think about, are you sliding ahead on the beat? Are you back on the beat? Are you right in the pocket? Think about how you can articulate these patterns or whatever pattern it is you're working at in the rhythmic sound you want. Don't forget to listen to yourself play and not, just literally go through the motions. Keep those ears on how your rhythm is sounding. You practiced 20 minutes. Tough rhythmic work for 20 minutes. Good job. You get some ice cream tonight or whatever is your party thing. Yeah, we like ice cream? Okay, cool. So, as you probably noticed, I was, for the last 5 or 10 minutes there, I was contracting the periods between the two forms, right? And we ended with a minute of one and then the other form. So cool. If that worked for you, cool, as long though as you are choosing your own adventure and working on whatever your personal challenge is against that, whether it was just getting that chop down or starting to do more complex variations than I was doing.
I started hearing the 1, 2, 3, 4 when you shortened it. I was like, oh, there's the one. Oh, there's the one. And it sank in a new, deeper level for me.
Because because of the challenge of finding the one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The what's that?
I said, where's that one?
Where could?
You know, we live in a group over here, the three of us, but I don't know if any of us knew where the one was.
Yeah, well, particularly in your room where y'all are hearing 4 cellos, so
Yeah. Oh yeah, four with you. Yeah,
I'm kind of jealous of that. You must have that must have been sonically very, very cool.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I bet. Especially, were you trying to do the same thing, or were you phasing off each other and stuff?
We would do the same thing for a while, and then we would end up doing something different, and that was cool because actually, when you guys were doing something different and I was doing something different, and we were still I think we were on the beat. I mean, I think we did pretty well.
Yeah, it sounded pretty cool when we were doing different things.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we didn't throw each other off, basically.
Great. And that is the jam skill, right? To be able to groove with a different pattern. So that is the thing. And that's really the basis of a lot of old time music, particularly old time jams. You know, where you're doing subtly different bow patterns with someone, but it's locking in and working.
At what was that? 80 beats? 80 beats per minute?
80 beats per minute, yeah. But that's where that's the groove tempo right there. You know, you can't do it fast before you can do it slow.
No.
Gotcha. But finding the one, if you find yourself in one of these patterns and you're not hearing where the one is, think of that I think it's particularly difficult for the shuffle pattern. The chop pattern sort of says 1. It's the only time there's a note is the 1. It's trickier with and I'm not sure whether that gets easier or harder as the tempo speeds up. But what you want to listen for is the 2. Because that's the one that's different, right? 3-3-2, 3-3-2. And you hear the accents coming a little closer on it. And each one of those is an and 1. And, or 4-1. 4-1.
The 2 at the end, you mean, is and 1? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3,
it's
and 1?
The first accent is the 4th beat, and the second of those accents is the 1st beat. So that sounds really confusing, but it's easier if you hear it. 4-1. 4-1, 4-1, 4-1. So that's like the hinge of the measure there is that 2 sound.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
It also, your mileage may vary. It may be helpful for you to listen for that and cerebrate it. It may not be at all. Like, you can also just feel it. So whichever kind of works for your learning method.
Yeah, I can't count it.
That was great. It was really great. Because this is all stuff we're working on in the fiddle orchestra.
Oh, no kidding. Cool. Accompaniment stuff specifically?
Right. We're working on the chop and we're working on that shuffle pattern. And
Wow.
so this was really helpful.
How timely. Awesome. I'm so glad.
It was. It really worked out, Daniel. Thank you so much.
Hooray. It's so cool. I love that you're having a little cello party over there. Diane and Roberta, could you, your third, Sue. Sue, awesome.
Sue.
Great to have you, Sue.
Sue's the president of the fiddle club.
Oh, wow, okay. Cool.
And we all started with fiddles, but now we seem to be on cello.
Yes.
I am on fiddle. I am on fiddle.
She's on cello. We're going to get her more on cello.
The nefarious cello plan is progressing. Very cool.
That's right. It is.
That's
It
right.
is.
Catching on in the Boston area.
Yeah, well, that's
I'm so glad that you can do this tonight. Thank you so much.
absolutely. And I will see y'all next week for some more practice stuff. I don't know, should we leaven it up and like do a tune? Or should we keep going with should we keep driving on a tune?
A tune.
We're feeling more like a tune. Take a break from the accompaniment stuff to play a tune?
Well, if you do a tune and then we can work the accompanying stuff in it, that would be nice.
I was thinking about that. I don't know how to do... I don't know. I guess I'll have to think about the tune. Because I can't, like, teach a tune and its accompaniment in the little 10 minutes beforehand.
Yeah.
So
You can
maybe
do it
just...
in 2 segments.
Yeah, it's just that's then going to be minimum 2 weeks before we get back to this accompaniment stuff. Although if some of y'all are doing it in orchestra and it's familiar to others, maybe that won't be a problem.
Well, think about it. Whatever comes up is fine. This was so helpful. Really helpful.
I'm so glad.
Whatever you want to do, Daniel.
Yeah, whatever
You want to do.
other accompaniment patterns are good too.
Like jig
Other
rhythms.
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can totally. Although that's going to be like a whole nother thing, right? Once we move reels and go into jigs, then we're sort of starting over in some ways. Because these patterns that we're working, we can't build up from them anymore. We have to develop new ones. So we'll definitely do that, but I want to think of it as like a different unit, you know?
I think it would be really neat to go from the rhythms to a tune, and then what chords were with a tune, and then the accompaniment for the tune,
Yeah.
So like next week to tunes, and then the week next week, here's the chord progression, and just like focusing on the chord progression, or back and forth chord progression to tune, and then the following week could be the adding rhythm to it.
Yeah.
I'm really grooving on the rhythm, just to be punny about it. Thank you so much.
You're totally right, Lucy. Also, you're pointing out the big missing element in the work we've been doing for the last couple of meets is devising chords, figuring out the chord progression because that's really what I'm sort of imagining is like, okay, you sit down at a jam and you're going to accompany. The two things that you're doing really are determining a texture and determining chords. And so far we've just been working on the texture part of it. Developing the chords is a whole nother thing. Maybe I can figure out how to it might be more than 1 week though, is the challenge with that.
Doing the chords is very cerebral. Doing the rhythm is feel. To me.
Yeah, if that works for you, awesome. You can try and switch that around, you know, and we can talk about ways to try and feel chords more.
I would like that.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
Yeah, maybe we'll, or maybe we'll actually do that. What if we did that first? Like talk about how to feel out chords in a melody.
And then teach the tune, and then we would overlay the chords.
Well, and then just play the tune, not teach it to you, because the whole idea is like finding the chords to a tune you don't know.
Yeah.
And then the next week we could do a review of actually learning the tune. And if people wanted to learn the tune, of course, I'd be playing the tune for 20 minutes, so like you're gonna kind of get it. But the focus first would be on like finding the chords if you don't know the tune.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's good.
Okay.
Because that's what you do in the jam.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. We got a plan. Cool.
I like having a chance to do that before we leave the real rhythms behind. Before we move to the jigs.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of this will be in real world, so you can be working on these
Real time.
patterns. Wow, this is just the
Wow.
punniest night ever. Whew. Yeah, everything will be in the real dimension, so you can be practicing these accompaniment patterns while figuring out chords, while hearing the tune, for sure.
All right. That would be easier than trying to overlay something brand new rhythmically for me.
Yeah.
The other two bits to
Yeah.
now, and that feels more kind of like it's there.
Well, I think also you don't need a whole lot more. You can think of like a whole zoology of sort of accompaniment patterns, or you can think of all accompaniment patterns as combinations of syncopation and articulation in just different relationships from one another. And like you learned one pattern that sort of does all the major articulations, and you learned another that is 3/2, the most basic syncopation there is. So really, like, the vast majority of patterns that you ever come up with will be recombinations of those elements. And I think often, like, when you're jamming, you don't want to be celebrating it, right? You want to be feeling it. And so to me, it's more a question of sort of physically getting the motor memory on how to syncopate and how to articulate different strokes, and then just kind of like combining them the way that you feel it in the moment. Then thinking like, okay, now I'm going to switch to the 6th pattern that I learned in slow practice live stream back in April, like... Right.
I don't think so.
Right.
No, we ain't doing that. No way.
All right, y'all, I'm going to go home and get some dinner, but it's really great seeing you all and playing with you, and wonderful to be back. Happy practicing to all of you. Great to meet you, Sue.
Thank you.
That was fun.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Hey.
Bye, Takako.
Hi. Bye. Bye.
Where's the arrow? There's the arrow. It's not.